What effect do you think teaching critical race theory would have on students, pros and cons? Paul, do you want to jump in?
I know what effects it had in the black community: high black dropout rates, lower academic performance, lower academic motivation. And this is not hyperbole. I grew up in these communities. I've worked in these communities. The tenets of CRT are highly destructive. There is no positive side to it. I will say this: most people that advocate these things have never seen the effects that they have in my community in urban poverty clusters. Prince William County, from where I come from, is an extremely wealthy place. And this is an experiment in Northern Virginia, but the end result is lower performance. I don't see anything positive about teaching people that America is systemically racist. You know, Blacks who come from other countries who have never been taught that don't have any of the problems of Blacks born here who are always taught that. The discrimination doesn't stop them at all. Asian Americans have the same poverty rate as white Americans. So obviously race is not that big of a deal unless we make it that big of a deal. Just my 2 cents.
I saw Martha's hand next, so we'll move to her and then we'll go to Atif.
Oh yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay. If you go back to the Freirean doctrine, which is in place today, education is designed to be used to awaken the oppressed to their oppression. That, as Paul has noted, that takes away from their useful information. They spend time on I'm going to go back to privilege bingo and some of the math problems that focus on gender more so than math. China is teaching their high schoolers to code. We are focused on teaching children that they're oppressed or that there is an oppressor sitting next to them. There are efforts within schools to create affinity groups, which means segregation, self-enforced segregation, so that you can be with someone who looks like you. This effort to bring in teachers that look like their students. I doubt that Ms. Dory's students all look like her. That doesn't mean that she shouldn't be able to teach them, but that's the direction that equity is taking us. But it is, you have to remember, the goal is not to benefit the student. Calling a child by its preferred pronoun is not to the benefit of the student. It is for the long-term goal of social justice activism and liberation. And Secretary Carney keeps saying, well, we teach communism, why can't we teach this? Well, actually, we don't teach enough about communism and Marxism. Our students don't know enough about the 100 million people that were killed in the 20th century. They don't understand that the methods being used on them today are methods that Mao used in his Cultural Revolution. So we're not implementing Marxism like you kind of are indicating we are by saying we're teaching it. But ironically, we are implementing it because we are starting to use foundations of critical race theory, the ideologies, through culturally responsive instruction and social emotional learning. So in the end, they're getting a lesser education because of it.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'll let Atif respond, and then we'll go to Dr.
Sure.
Dory.
No, absolutely. And I think that, I think we should teach more about, as much as possible, so our students are knowledgeable about the atrocities committed under different communist regimes. I think we should teach more about all the atrocities committed in America in our history, which we don't do a good job of, right? What truly happened during Jim Crow, what truly happened during massive resistance, but folks will say that's CRT. So that's what I'm saying, is that I'm just hearing conflicting information. Look, Ms. Kunstinger and Mr. Lott are extremely intelligent, extremely disciplined. They are not answering the questions I'm posing. I know I'm being annoying because I don't believe the right questions are being asked. But again, my question is, why are people so worked up about this? Because we really haven't truly answered it. What is the true intention? Like, I feel like the intention is to keep people not questioning if things are okay. It's a big problem. I mean, please do reflect on what I'm saying.
And Dr. Jory, would you like to end this question?
Sure. So if you want to implement or incorporate equitable access to rigorous courses, access to high levels of support, expertise, and move away from this concept of lowering expectations for marginalized students, then we need to move into the culturally responsive framework.
Thanks for that.